final rites of Sunil Jayawardene carried out amidst tight security. Communications between the government and the central bank have broken down, says Dr. Harsha De Silva. The police officer who foiled the 7.9 million rupee heist at the National Hospital dies. Atlanta police chief resigns over a police shooting incident.
Good evening, you're watching Primetime News on TV1. On to your lead story of the day. A fire erupted at the Kegol Central Market building this evening.
The fire erupted at around 4 this evening at the two-storied market complex. According to our correspondent, the second story of the building was completely engulfed by the blaze. The fire had spread to a few sections of the ground floor of the building as well. According to our correspondent, the fire brigades from the Mavanella, Kurunegala and Kandy municipal councils had arrived at the scene to douse the fire. Personnel from the Beragala Army Camp and officers from the Kegol Police also assisted in efforts to control the blaze.
As a resident of Kegol, I must say that this market is the heart of Kegol. A fire erupted here today, and there were a number of other blazes that were reported in this area in the past as well. There is no proper procedure on what should be done. There has to be a procedure that can be followed immediately when something like this happens. The biggest problem here is that the Kegol Municipal Council does not have any equipment or vehicles to douse the fire. These equipment must be brought from quite a distance. When these equipment and vehicles are brought here, the fire has already destroyed everything.
Venerable Madagama Dhammananda Thero, the Lekadhikari of the Asgiri chapter, said that the general election should be held while curbing violence in the country.
We can see violence and underworld activities resurfacing in certain parts of the country. At a time when we are in the run-up for a general election, the government must take steps to maintain peace in the country and curb violence. We saw drug dealers acting violently in the past, and now they have started to do these things again. Acts of violence, including murder, are being perpetrated by these people. We would like to remind His Excellency the President and the Honourable Prime Minister and the entire government to take steps to curb such violence in the country.
The final rites of Sunil Jayawardene, the chairman of the Lanka Self-Employed Professionals National Three-Wheeler Federation, were carried out at the Kasbah Cemetery today.
The trade union leader had been killed while appearing on behalf of a three-wheel driver who had been unable to settle a leasing installment amidst the coronavirus pandemic. The final rites of Sunil Jayawardena were carried out at the Kasbah cemetery.
Many silent protests were organized across the country for the late Sunil Jayawardena, who was assaulted to death on Wednesday. A group consisting of three-wheeler drivers and others demanded justice must be served for Sunil Jayawardena. The United Three-Wheeler Owners Association in Kahava Akurala in Gaul travelled in procession to the Kahava Junction today and observed a minute of silence. Thereafter, the group engaged in a silent protest.
Our chairman was killed because of this leasing mafia. There are about 1 million registered three-wheelers in the country. This incident is similar to claiming the lives of all 1 million of them. We certainly did not expect something like this.
A group of three-wheeler drivers in Puttalam staged a silent protest as well.
ඒක නිසා අපි කියන්නේ කරුණාකරලා ජනාධිපති අගමැතිතුමනි මේක බැංකු ක්‍රමයකින් මේ සිරිලකටම ලබා දෙන්න කියලා මම ඔබතුමාගෙන් ගෞරවයෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
The All-Island Inter-District School Children Transportation Association and Three-Wheeler Drivers Association in Atugalpura staged a silent protest in Kurunegala.
We condemn this brutal assault. We urge the President to sentence these murderers to death.
Taking a look at a story that made it to your headlines tonight, Dr. Harsha De Silva said that directions made to financial institutions from the central bank cannot be implemented without the issuance of proper circulars.
Communications between the government and the central bank have completely broken down. The senior management and directors of the central bank were threatened, stating that they would be fired if the orders of the central bank were not complied with. If that is the case, then present to us in writing as to what should be done. If the heads of banks don't receive a circular carrying the signature of the governor of the central bank, they don't have the legal authority to implement these measures. The president does not have the power in our democracy to formulate these laws. We challenge Bandula Gunawardena to present us a document that was issued to banks directing them not to collect interest from their debtors. There is no document like that given to these leasing institutions. The middle-class people in the country are buried in these leases and credit card debt. Concessions should be provided to them. We force the government to do this.
Meanwhile, Dr. Harsha De Silva also spoke of the issues faced by employees of both the public and private sectors.
According to the statistics from the Department of Labour, over 90% of the workforce in certain sectors don't have any work. They are not receiving any wages, but they have to pay their leasing installments and credit card debt. What are the steps taken by the government in this regard? The government must provide concessions to these people who have to pay their leasing installments, their loans and credit card debt for at least 3 to 6 months.
Leader of the Samagi Jana Balawega, Sajid Premadasa, addressed a meeting in Colombo today.
The leasing mafia has gone behind the owners of vehicles no sooner than curfew restrictions were relaxed and when life had begun returning to normalcy. They are spreading violence and acting in a manner that is dangerous than the coronavirus. They have begun seizing vehicles including three-wheelers. When a trade union leader had gone and spoken on behalf of a three-wheeler driver to retrieve his seized vehicle, these thugs had attacked him in a high-security zone. They deprived 3 children of their father. This is the leasing concession. They said that they will provide concessions to the people, but ultimately a person lost his life.
On to a story that News First have been closely following in the recent past. The chairman and officials of the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau engaged in an inspection at the Somavati Forest Reserve today. The inspection was to ascertain the truth of the alleged destruction to the sensitive ecosystem in the area caused by a sand mining operation conducted under the purview of a few state institutions in Kantale.
Corruption and environmental destruction.
Environmentalists pointed out that the improper manner in which the sand mining operation is being conducted causes serious damages to the surrounding ecosystem. The license for the operation has been approved as a government project by the Mahavalley Authority, the Forest Department, the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau and the Department of Wildlife. Our correspondent said around 400 tippers and tractors transport sand through the reserve on a daily basis. Additionally, allegations say excessive mining is being carried out in the reserve.
ඔබතුමාලාගේ කවුරුහරි ඇවිල්ලා මේක මාක් කරලා තියනවද?
ඔව්. අපේ භූවිද්‍යා පත්තල කාර්යාංශයෙන් අපි මේක ලකුණු කරලා තියෙනවා උත්තර ප්‍රමාණයක් අයින් කරන්න ඕනි කියලා ඒක.
ඒ කැනීම් කරනකොට ඔබතුමාලා ඒ මාක් කරලාද කැනීම් කරන්නේ?
නිරන්තරයෙන්ම මේ අධීක්ෂණ කටයුතු කරනවා. පළවෙනි දේ තමයි මහවැලි ගඟේ මුහුදට වැටෙන ස්ථානයේ ඉඳලා අපිට සීමිත ප්‍රමාණයක් තමයි කැනීම් කරන්න පුළුවන් උසක් දීලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම අපි අධීක්ෂණය කරලා කරොත් තමයි මේ කරදිය රට ඇතුළට එන වලක්ව ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා.
එතකොට මේ කැනීම් කරනකොට යටට යටින් ගන්න පුළුවන් ප්‍රමාණය කොච්චර ප්‍රමාණයක්ද දැන්ට මේ කැනීම් වලට දීලා තියෙන්නේ?
දීලා තියෙන්නේ කොච්චරද මේ මයිනින් කොච්චරද ඇවරේජ් දීලා තියෙන්නේ?
ඇවරේජ් එහෙම නෑ. දැන් වෙන තැන්වල එහෙම වෙනස් වෙනවා.
This mining operation is conducted within the Somavati Reserve to make a protective dam between the Suryapura village and the Mahavalley River. The project will be funded by the profits made from the sand mining operation.
සඳුම තමයි මේ වෙලාවේ දෙන්න පුළුවන් දේ අර ආරක්ෂක බැම්ම ඉදිකරන එක. ඉතින් ඒක කඩිනම් කරන්න තමයි අපි මේ කටයුත්ත කරගෙන යන්නේ. ප්ලෑන් කරලා තියෙන්නේ ඇත්තටම මේ අවුරුද්ද අවසාන වෙනකොට මේ ගල් බැම්ම දාලා ඉවර කරන්න තමයි ප්ලෑන් කරලා තිබ්බේ. මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා ලබන අප්‍රේල් වෙනකොට මේ සම්පූර්ණ මේක ඉවර කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි.
ඒතර එතකම් වැලි කැනීම් ටික කරනවා එහෙමද?
ඔව් වැලි කැනීම් කරන ක්‍රියාවලිය සිද්ධ වෙනවා. මොකද නිරන්තරයෙන් මේ වර්ෂාවත් එක්ක මේ වැලි ඩිපොසිට් වෙන එක සිද්ධ වෙනවනේ. එතකොට දාන මැෂින් ප්‍රමාණය වෙනස් වෙනවා.
Meanwhile, yesterday, people involved in the sand mining industry in Mannampitiya revealed details of the sand mafia allegedly being carried out with the intervention of politicians. A main detail revealed at the media briefing yesterday was that some politicians only allow permission to their close associates to transport sand. Today, the officials of the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau directed their attention towards these allegations as well.
කොළොන්නාමේදී බලපෑමේ සම්බන්ධ දෙන්නේ. ඒකට එක එලාම සභාපතිවරයාට මම එකඟයි. ඒ වගේම ඉතුරු සියලු 25 අනිත් දෙන්න ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් ක්‍රමයක් ඇති කරන්න කියලා.
අංගසමත්තුමායි ගෝලෙක් කිව්වොත් මෙයා මෙයක් කඩනවා. මේ අතුන්සන් දිලා රුපියල් 5000 දීලා මේ හැමෝම ගියා. රුපියල් 5000 දීලා අමුතුරුපා ලිව්වා. ඒක ගෝලෙන් සමන්වත් වෙලා කතා කරලා ගියා මේක කියලා. ඒක නන්නේ නෑ. නන්නෝද ඔක්කොම 5000ට එතන දුන්නා. ඕටේ මහානගර සභාවේ විමා ගාගෙන තියෙනවා. එතනම තියෙන ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් රුපියල් 5000 කරගෙන ඒ ඩිපාර්ට් එක මටුවා.
සභාපතිතුමා දැන් මේ රාජ්‍ය ආයතන කියලා රාජ්‍ය ආයතන නම් වලට නියෝග ගහගෙන ඒවා යම්මුණලක් අරගෙන ඔය කටයුතු කරනවා නම් ඔබතුමා ඒක ගැන පරීක්ෂණයක් කරලා හිතවන්න තියෙනවා.
එතකොට ඒක සාරමන වෙන්න කියනවා. ඉවන් නිර්වාහක කියනවා. මේ කියන සභාපතිතුමාත් ඔක්කොම දන්නවා ලේකම් මන්ත්‍රීනේ කියනවා මේක අවස්ථාව. හැබැයි කෙරෙන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද හැමදාම වෙවිලා වැඩි හොරට අරන් යනවා.
We are crossing over to a short commercial break. Stay with News First. We will be right. Welcome back to the news. In some tragic news this evening, a police constable attached to the State Intelligence Service who was critically injured in an accident near the Tumula Junction died this morning. The intelligence officer had been instrumental in arresting a suspect who had robbed 7.9 million rupees from the Colombo National Hospital last week.
A Defender SUV had collided with a motorcycle on the 11th of this month. Two intelligence officers were travelling on the motorcycle. Police said that the driver of the Defender was a law student and that he had been under the influence of alcohol at the time of the accident. The deceased victim, identified as Dulita Yomal Alahaperuma, had joined the police service 2.5 years ago. His relatives arrived at the office of the Colombo Judicial Medical Officer to accept his mortal remains today.
We are told that the person involved in the collision is a relative of a minister. Do not allow him to be released like what happened after the accident of Patali. After all, it is my brother. He was my only sibling. This had happened after he committed an act of bravery. Justice must be served over this.
Police said that investigations over the accident will continue to take place, regardless of the suspect's relatives or any political affiliation. Police spokesperson SP Jalia Senaratne said that an impartial investigation will take place into the incident. On his Facebook account, senior DIG of the Western Province, Deshabandhu Tennakon, expressed his condolences over the death of the officer. The senior DIG had praised the heroic acts performed by this officer days before he met with his tragic fate. Meanwhile, the police headquarters had issued a statement regarding the incident. The statement notes that the acting IGP and police officers laud the manner in which the deceased officer had arrested a suspect days before the accident. The Sri Lanka police had expressed their deepest condolences over the accident that claimed the life of the officer. The remains of Dulita Alahaperuma are expected to be brought to his residence in Valikanda, Polonnaruwa today. Meanwhile, the other intelligence officer who was injured in the accident is currently receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital. A spokesperson for the hospital said that this officer had sustained critical injuries to one of his legs.
It has been 10 days since the arrival of a controversial American national to the island. Why did he come? Why was special treatment accorded to him? No clear response from authorities to date.
So far, MCC gives
The Americans have now proven that stopping these agreements after voicing out our objection against it is completely correct. These are the kinds of high-minded officials that would have come to the country in groups if these agreements were signed.
Generally, in the event of such a grave breach of domestic law, the ambassador of that state will be called on to explain. Nothing of this nature has been done up to date. According to Cabinet Minister Vimal Veeravansa, this American national is not a member of the country's diplomatic mission. He is a military officer attached to the Indo-Pacific Command.
Although this person has a diplomatic passport, he is not a diplomat. He is a member of the Indo-Pacific Command Regiment. This is why he refused the PCR test.
Against a backdrop where a circular issued by the government on the 27th of March informed members of diplomatic missions to adhere to domestic regulations, who is continuing to tolerate these actions of an imperialistic and authoritarian nature that jeopardizes the lives of all citizens in the island?
On to another somber note in the bulletin tonight. Bollywood lost yet another actor as Sushant Singh Rajput committed suicide at his residence in Mumbai today. Back to stories from here at home. The Department of Government Printing says that 50% of the ballot papers for the parliamentary elections have already been printed. Government printer Ganga Kalpani Liyanage said that the ballot papers for the districts of Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa have been handed over to the National Election Commission.
The number of ballot papers that would be printed for this year's election stands at 17 million. The longest ballot paper for the poll has been printed for the Gampaha district. According to government printer Ganga Kalpani Liyanage, ballot papers that are large in width have been printed for the electoral districts of Batiklo, Colombo, Vanni and Digamadulla. This year's parliamentary elections have been scheduled to be held on the 5th of August. Accordingly, trial elections had been held in several districts today. The chairman of the National Election Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, arrived at the Ilukkakulam Muslim Mahavidyalaya in Puttalam to supervise a trial election.
We wish to urge the people to come and vote without fear. We will implement all health measures to ensure that the disease does not spread. One health official will be deployed to each polling center to inspect whether people maintain a distance of 1 meter, wear a face mask and wash their hands.
Trial elections were also held in Jaffna, Ampara, Badulla, Kalutara, Batiklo and Nuwara today.
Keeping up with the stories leading up to the general election, President's Counsel Maitri Gunaratne expressed these views about the discovery of ballot papers from certain locations after the conclusion of the election.
Understand that the ballot papers are being printed. After every election, we get to know that ballot papers have been found in dustbins, in dirt yards and dirt dumps. How can this happen? That is because these ballot papers are not printed with the proper security it deserves. So we call upon the Elections Commissioner to see that proper security measures are taken when the ballot papers are printed. Because otherwise, when people find ballot papers in dustbins and waste paper baskets, what happens is they don't have any confidence in the printing process and the election process. Therefore, it is imperative that the Elections Commission get together and see that adequate security measures are taken when printing the ballot papers.
Many people from the village say that if that duo were running things now, the country and the people would have been in the hands of destruction. When the ruler is good, the citizens are also good.
We were criticized and the president was also criticized. We created a country where people can express their feelings freely. However, that is changing now.
This president has given us the freedom to breathe. Our prime minister has over 50 years of experience in parliament. He is capable of maneuvering this political mechanism and elevating our country to a stage that no one can imagine.
We only have to secure the votes that we received at the presidential election. Although they obtained 6.9 million votes, they have lost most of it by now.
Institutions like the National Elections Commission should be taken out. This whole has been behaving stubbornly. Therefore, we need the two-thirds majority. We need to abolish the 19th Amendment to the Constitution.
The dream of the two-third majority is shared between the SLPP and the minority group in the UNP. We will prove that these are only daydreams on the 5th of August. Leaving the two-third aside, the SLPP will not be able to obtain at least 113 seats.
They are saying that they need a two-thirds majority and also not to join hands with particular people. We cannot do both. If we embark on this journey alone, we will be able to obtain 115 to 118 seats.
We are hoping to build a government following the general election, but it won't be with the Podujaneks at Peramuna.
The president does not know what the government is doing. The government does not know what the president is doing. This is a massive tangle. At the moment, the government is struggling to get 112 seats, but the government will fail to do that.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa are carrying out the program of leading this country forward with a strong economy and safeguarding the people. However, the opposition is continuing to sling mud at us.
People are gradually straying away from the SLPP because they have not done anything in the past months. People are disheartened.
Ranil's faction has become powerful. We request the UNP to give us the green light to form the two-third majority for the sake of the people in this country.
Do you think the UNPers will vote for Ranil or Ravi? We also receive messages that the present ruling is not done by a family but a group of children. If they had the brains to shut down the airport earlier, the 22 million people in this country would have not been confined to their homes. They valued their stubbornness over that. Corruption and environmental destruction.
The Colombo South Beach Nourishment Project was mired in controversy after the sand that was dumped on the beach eroded. The beaches of Kaluthara, Angulana and Mount Lavinia are to be nourished under this program, which is valued at 890 million rupees. The contract for the project had been handed over to a company in Denmark. Commenting on this project, several factions pointed out that the exercise was a waste of public funds as the sand dumped on the beach as part of the project had eroded. This was a technical explanation provided about the project recently.
The sand on the western coast moves northwards. We deposited the sand in a manner that it will gradually move towards the areas facing erosion. We dumped sand near Angulana as erosion was seen in Vadikanda in Ratmalana and its surrounding areas. However, the erosion has reduced as the sand has moved northwards. We can see that a beach is taking shape.
However, criticism has been levelled against the concept of sand travelling northwards from the point at which it had been dumped. This was the coast in Vadikanda in Ratmalana and its surrounding areas.
It must be clearly said that an environmental assessment had not been carried out about the project. It is said that the sand will move northwards about 15 kilometers. Mount Lavinia has a bay. We cannot control it as we like.
ඒවා ඊටාම සංවේදී පරිසර පද්ධති. අපිට ඕන විදිහට පාලනය කරන්න බෑ. ඒතරම් බොක්කක් කියන එක මේතර මොහොතට යන්නේ නැහැ ඇත්තටම.
Samantha Gunasekara said that the sand filling on the beaches of Mount Lavinia and Ratmalana cannot be compared to the projects on the beaches of Unawatuna and Kalido.
The project in Unawatuna was done in line with an environmental assessment report. The same applies to the Kalido beach. That wasn't done in a hurry. There were reports on the project. Many rounds of discussions were held. However, in this instance, none of that sort had taken place. But they are trying to classify all these projects as one.
In 2017, 1.2 billion rupees had been allocated from the budget, while cabinet approval has also been given to develop that area strategically using rocket revetments. However, that project has not produced any results. Today they have used 889 million rupees for the beach nourishment project. That has also proven to be unsuccessful. Both rock revetments and dumping sand have been unsuccessful. However, a large amount of money has been spent on these projects. Large sums of money which can be allocated for education and health are being wasted due to this.
අපේ රටේ විශාල මුදලක් මේ ආකාරයෙන් වැය කිරීම සිද්ධ වෙනවා තියෙනවා අධ්‍යාපනයට වෙන් කරන්න තියෙන මුදල් ඒ වගේම සෞඛ්‍යයට වෙන් කරන්න තියෙන මුදල් මේ ආකාරයෙන් මහ පරිමාණයෙන්ම අපත යාමක් සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
Were these unsuccessful projects that do not benefit the people implemented to obtain commissions? If so, who were those who obtained commissions?
We want a clean parliament. We want a clean government. Think before you vote.
The Kelaniya police has launched an investigation into the disappearance of 2 children.
2 families which had been living at rented homes and had been displaced amidst coronavirus pandemic had sought refuge near the bus halt in Kelaniya. 2 boys aged 10 and 11 from these families had gone missing after they had gone to play on the 12th of this month.
බත්තයක් හොයාගෙන අපි ජීවත් වුණා. ඒත් එලා ඉනවනේ ෆෝන් එක බලන එක්කෙනත් එක්ක අපේ පුතා ඇසුරු කරලා තැමිලි කපන එක්කෙනයි පුතත් එක්ක මේ අරන් ගිහලා එයා පුතාව.
මම තැමිලි බාන්න ගිහලා හිටියේ. අපේ පවුලයි මේ ළමයි දෙන්න ඉතර ළමයි හිටියේ. දරුවා හොයලා දෙන එක තමයි තියෙන්නේ.
The Kelaniya police has commenced an investigation into the incident. Although it has not been ascertained as to whether this was an act of kidnapping, it is unlawful for any person to bring the children under their care without the permission of their parents.
The Education Minister has drawn his attention towards a possibility of rescheduling the advanced level exams.
We said that schools will be opened for advanced level students on the 7th of July. However, if we have at least a slightest doubt, we will not ask students to come to school. A group of students who would be sitting for the advanced level exam spoke to me this morning. They asked me whether the date for the advanced level examination, which has been fixed for the 7th of September, could be changed. They asked for an additional 3 weeks and said that they also had messaged me on Facebook regarding the matter. As soon as I got into my vehicle, I spoke to the Education Secretary and told him to inquire whether the time is not enough for students to prepare for the exams. I asked him to report back to me within 4 to 5 days. If the students are saying this, then I must fulfill my responsibility. When we made decisions concerning students, we always did it on behalf of them and not on behalf of politicians or officials. When schools reopen, we will provide thermometers to check the temperature of the students.
2 suspects were arrested over the adulteration of turmeric powder with rice and rice husks in Kakirava yesterday. Police had seized 50 kilograms of turmeric powder that was unfit for consumption.
Public health inspectors in Kakirava, together with the police, had arrested the suspects during a raid carried out last night. The scam had been carried out at a house in Kollankuttigama, Maradan Kadavala. According to our correspondent, several sacks of turmeric powder that were mixed with rice husk and rice flour had been seized during the raid. 2 suspects involved in the racket had been taken into custody, along with some equipment used to adulterate the products. Investigations are underway to determine whether turmeric powder that is unfit for consumption had been released to the market.
We leave you tonight with this rendition of the Nagitimu Sri Lanka song. I'm Tharusha Kumar Singh, along with our news interpreter for tonight, Taraka Gabriel. Good night.
Gunmatter, Nagitimu Sri Lanka. Best YouTube video of the day.
Nagitimu Sri Lanka Kisida novenas minisat guna piripun rata Sri Lanka Meran bhumiya urumaya pagai rakagamu Sri Lanka Idiriya gana ek vi apahituvat rakagannata Lanka Duru vi vyasana apa idiriye Nagitimu Sri Lanka, api Nagitimu Sri Lanka.
Gunmatter, Nagitimu Sri Lanka.